Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. Ali Corman, Ed Carson here with a breakdown of the action in today's market, where we saw the rally, Ed, kick it up another notch.
Yeah, that rally kept on going, and we're seeing more and more leaders flash buy signals. Oasis Petroleum blasted higher, Nvidia broke a trend line, and Tesla at least came up and flirted with a buy point.
Okay, well, we'll look at all that in addition to analyzing current market conditions with a look at the major indexes. So here is the NASDAQ composite up 1.4% for the day. We also had the S&P 500 up the same, the Dow up 1%, and the Russell 2000 up about 0.6%. So really great to see some follow through. And it seems like if 3 out of 4 stocks are trading in step with the market, some potential entries forming at this point for a lot of stocks.
Yeah, I mean, the market goes up, the stocks start looking better. We rebounded on last Tuesday, then we came back above the 50-day line on Wednesday, broke a trend line on Thursday, and now just continuing on, I guess, getting above the 12.8 high. So there's a lot of trading in that area. Saw that with some of the other indexes. It's just positive action. I think this is the time, sort of last couple of sessions start, gradually moving into the market. Don't have to rush in. If this is going to last, there's going to be plenty of opportunities, but it's definitely a positive. Volume is light, but what can you do?
Right.
It's that time of year. So that is something to keep you aware of. I mean, the big institutions might have a different mindset coming when they come back, but it's certainly a positive move in the market the last several days.
And hey, this isn't the first time that we've had a follow through day in the holiday season, and they can work. So early on in this rally still, but encouraging developments. And even though the NASDAQ and S&P 500 had the same percentage gain today, the S&P is looking even better with a close decisively in record high territory.
Yeah, the S&P, we focus on the NASDAQ a lot, but the only reason the rally survived is because the S&P didn't undercut its lows like the NASDAQ did a week or so ago. And it's come on and looks great. And a lot of the big cap techs are also doing well, but there's a lot of oil and some financials. A lot of things have been doing well the last several days. Strong sign for at least the big caps, at least the mega caps, and some breadth coming in this market, but definitely nice performance here.
And so speaking of breadth, one proxy for that, as we've said, is the Russell 2000, which tracks small caps. So continuing higher here again today after pretty steep sell-off in the last number of weeks, the hardest hit, no doubt, among the major indexes, but encouraging to see it continue to turn around and right at that 200-day.
Yeah, so getting above the 50-day would be nice. Just more of the same. Like, we just want more of that. I mean, basically what it comes, get that steady improvement in the Russell and in market breadth, really make the sort of more solid foundation for the market.
That's right. And let's check in on growth stocks by looking at FFTY, the ETF that tracks the IBD 50, and kind of similar here to what we're seeing with small caps, Ed.
Yeah, and this is one reason why we were so, had sort of a negative tone for so many weeks. It was, the major indexes, finally, they really came down a little bit, but a lot of it was just the growth stocks were really struggling. There weren't a lot of stocks to buy. I mean, they're in a lot of, Apple or a few, this or that was holding up, but these were weakening, coming back, still a long way to go, but definitely encouraging next to the last several weeks.
Yeah, step in the right direction. And you mentioned energy stocks. So let's take a look at Oasis Petroleum, OAS. A nice move today, up over 7%. Heavy volume behind the move, which I guess says a lot in this holiday trading period. But this was a really compelling setup that the team spotted this morning.
Yeah, and I was going over some other energy stocks. I wouldn't say it's comprehensive, but a lot of them were showing strong moves, but usually much further below the 50-day line, maybe coming up to it. And the volume was below average. So this one seemed to be the cream of the crop, coming, really rebounding off that 50-day line, breaking that trend line, high volume. Definitely flashed a buy signal. At the end of this week, if it can stay in this range, it will have a cup base right over the top there. So that's another potential buy point. So energy, which was down 1% in the pre-market, and then it closed well over 2%, at least U.S. crude oil, I think back above $75 a barrel. These stocks follow crude oil prices, and it was definitely a positive today.
Yeah, and this was our IBD stock of the day and added to leaderboard. So now let's take a look. Speaking of leaderboard, let's look at Nvidia up 4.4% today, continuing its rebound off of the 50-day line.
Yeah, it's definitely, you could have probably bought it the last couple of days. You could buy it today. It's clearly breaking a trend line now. I guess the one last barrier you could say, if you wanted to, especially at this point, since it's gone up a ways, is maybe that high from, yeah, right there. Because the prior day was the follow through day on the NASDAQ and the Fed, and we had this huge move and everybody's bullish. And then that nasty reversal on Nvidia and so many other stocks. So getting above that would be maybe the one last step if you wanted to wait for like that 0.5% gain just to clear that resistance, but definitely actionable. It's a ways higher above the 50-day line. It's getting over there, but on a weekly chart, not so much. I mean, that's pretty close, and it looks pretty good there. This might be a way to please start a position or maybe add a little bit to it if you have it, and maybe see if it can get a longer base there.
Yeah, about 3.3% above the 10-week line. So clearly able to manage your risk trading off of that level. And we got to talk about Tesla testing an early entry, big outside week to the upside last week when it gained about 14%, continuing higher today, flipping on over to the daily chart. So backing off a little bit, it looks like, Ed, by session's close with a gain of about 2.5%. So set up for the radar.
Yeah, I think so. In some ways, you could say this is a positive because it was going up so much. We've talked about so many stocks when they run up straight from the bottom. And yeah, this wasn't going to a high, but it was running up straight from the bottom to a buy area. If you could form a handle here would be ideal, but just pausing for a couple of days, then breaking through, even just a pause for a little bit, and then breaking above maybe Monday's high would serve as a little bit of an entry, early entry there. So yeah, you always, if you own a stock, you just can't want to keep going straight and going vertical, but that's not how it works. So if it paused here, nice setup, and then it could actually form, if it had a handle here, depending on how deep it was, it could actually be the official buy point. So definitely one to watch for on that. And the official buy point, I know the consolidation is showing 1243, but I think we're generally calling this a double bottom. So that 1201.95, just add 10 cents to that would be where we would say is the official buy point right now. So nice action, and the volume wasn't too down too much, and it follows some strong volume last week or so. So definitely accumulation after a scary retreat.
So true. And Ed, we don't know if this double bottom will be successful or not, but I will say you did call it, that it was potential for there to be.
I wasn't the only one to call it. And one of the things is that when it came through like the 50-day line the first time, people were saying, hey, this could be a double bottom. And so the thing is, that's why you don't try to buy at the bottom there. And cheat ahead, even though it seems like it, because then it turned around and sold off. Now it could be a double bottom, but you'd hate to go up and say, buy it at 1,050 to have it go all the way down to 880 or whatever it did. And, maybe you hold on, maybe you don't, but if you get shaken out easily. So, yeah, so that's why we look for sometimes with not to try to get the lowest price, even if you can sort of envision the rebound, but to wait a little bit longer to get the odds more in your favor.
Yeah, and sometimes these setups take time, and hey, even better when you can have a potential trend line entry coincide with a base taking shape. All right, Ed, thank you for your thoughts today. Great to be back, and thanks to everyone for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow morning with more on IBD Live, so we definitely hope you tune in. Investors.com/IBD Live for all the details. We'll see you back here tomorrow.